Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today is March 12th. I'm Cody. Echo's in the shade. And we're going to plant some tomatoes today. Let's go. Here we are in the greenhouse, and I got my tray already set to go with the tomatoes. Now I already have some started here. I'm going to talk about what tomatoes I'm going to grow this year. My plan is to grow a tomato that I can actually eat fresh. I don't like any of these tomatoes yet, but I'm growing a bunch of varieties so I can find one I do like. So the first one here is a free seed white Tomasol from Baker Creek. I got this with my order of tomatoes. I didn't actually choose it, but I'm going to try it out. The next one is Baker Creek's pineapple tomato. Looks like a big, juicy, real sweet one. So I'm going to try that. Next up's a determinate variety from M.I. Gardner, the Rutgers tomato. Supposed to be just a real good, dependable tomato. We'll see about the flavor. The other one's M.I. Gardner's green grape, which I just think it looks kind of cool. And I haven't had a green tomato yet, so I'm going to be growing that one. Yellow pear is another smaller variety that I'm growing this year. I tried it last year, but my pumpkin took it over, so it never actually fruited. Not enough sun. Geranium Kiss will be one that I have on my patio in a pot, in a container. And I had that one last year and it turned out really well. My niece really liked that one. The last one I already have started is blueberries. Now that one just looks real good to me. Hopefully it's going to be a real sweet tomato like it looks like. Kind of like a blueberry. Those are the ones I already have started. The ones I still need to sow are going to be these next 5. I grew this one last year in a container. It's the Ace 55 tomato from M.I. Gardner. I grew it in a container and it actually got a tomato hornworm, which ate half the plant. It still produced a few good sized tomatoes, but I really need to try that one again. Next one's Chocolate Stripes. I grew it last year and my mom actually said this was the best tasting tomato I had last year, so I'm gonna grow that one again and maybe I can get some more out of it and I'll try it this year. After that I have another orange tomato, a Mana tomato from M.I. Gardner. I didn't try this one last year, and I know I grew it last year, but I don't have any recollection of how it was, so I'm gonna grow that again. Chernobyl is a nice yellow tomato that should be a little bit less acidic. It's a Virginia heirloom, indeterminate. I'll be growing that probably on the tomato wall. See if I like that flavor. And the last one I'm starting today of the tomatoes is just a Fairy Morse large red cherry fruiting. Large fruited red cherry. Alright. That's an indeterminate, so it's gonna be have to be trellised up. So let's get into it. So I have my tray filled already, and just to show you, I'm using this bucket to make my mixture. What I do is I take this grate I have made, it's about 1/4 inch grating in there. Come over my bag of Happy Frog soil. I just like using Happy Frog because it has the mycorrhiza, the humic acid, the worm castings, perlite, everything. Sorry about that truck. Anyway, so it has everything already in it. I don't have to actually make my own mixture. I just dump a scoop onto the grate and I work it in. Give it a little shake. All the big stuff I'm dumping into that tote, and I can use that in a potting mix, but it's not what I want for the seedlings. So once you do that, you got a nice fine mixture, perfect for starting seedlings. I pour the water right into the bucket Mix it up. There's still some moist in here, so I don't need any more water. And then I got a nice mixture to start with. Good clumpage, and it just breaks right apart. Okay, so that's what I have in my tray here. And what I'm gonna do is set the camera up and start sowing some seeds. Okay, so how I'm gonna do this, start with this one. Get this packet open here. These are the worst packets. Very Morse. These paper packets don't ever like to open, like to tear, and then you can't reseal it. So anyway, I have this knife, so I'm just gonna take this knife. I'm gonna make a little ditch about 1/4 inch deep, 1 inch long. Just make a little scratch in the soil. Dump some of the seeds in my hand here, and I'm going to sow 2 seeds per cell. I actually ran out of soil when I was sowing these 7 sets of tomatoes, so they got, check the date on there, yeah, they got a 4-day head start. I went and picked up soil today so I could get the rest of these tomatoes sown, because I'm week 7 away from my expected last frost date here in zone 6A, Western PA. So I want to get my tomatoes started. They get some time to grow up before I put them outside. So that's the first. That's the red cherry. Go ahead, put your plant with the date. Go ahead and tag it. Pull up the Chernobyl. There's nothing really special about planting tomato seeds. You just, whoops, wind's blowing in here. Just make a scratch. And sow 2 per cell. I like to sow 2 per cell because you never know how old the seed is. I guess you do know sometimes, but with these I know they're a year old already because I grew them last year. So just for have better odds, I like to always sow more than 1. Unless they're real big expensive seeds, and I'll only sow 1. But and my gardener has a nice selection of well-priced seeds. So I'm just gonna backfill the hole right over the seeds, give it a nice little tamp in. These are plenty wet, so I don't need to mist them at all. Go ahead and put in the plant label. Alright, I'm gonna get the rest of these in. Last one's the Ace 55. So now I got my tomatoes sown for the year. Got all these tomatoes. That's 12 varieties there. And probably not all of the tomatoes I'm growing, but that'll get me started. So I sowed 4 of each. I don't really need 4 of each, but I like to have odds, so if I only get 1 of each, that'll be just fine. I got space for them all, I think, so I'll find a spot for them if they all survive. So this is plenty wet. I'm not even gonna put the humidity dome on. I'm just gonna slide it on the rack and let it germinate. What I'm sowing next will be flowers. Fairy Queen Salvia, Salvia Mix, Vinca Cora, and a bunch of Calendula. some Ball's Improved Orange, and some Officinalis. I want a lot of calendula. I like the flower, and they last a while into the frost. So if you want to follow along as we start all the rest of the seeds for the homestead, then please subscribe down below and hit the like button if you like what you're seeing. Me and Echo will be starting a lot of seeds this year, and I'll be videoing as much as I can. Head into our playlists and check out all the different videos we have started, all the seeds we're starting already this year, and what's going on in the homestead, what it takes to get this place up and running for the new growing season. Alright, if you want to follow along, subscribe down below, and see you on the next one.